Rigdon with Plantation. Well, let me start over with your Ghost Town and Plantation finds. In this episode number 2, I will be covering the West Texas Ghost Town of Necessity. If you missed episode number 1, please go back and check it out, and please do subscribe. Today I will be trying to stress how important it is for you to venture away from your regular or routine outings, searching local parks, your local schoolyard, etc. Because the only thing you're going to find is your modern day jewelry, modern day coins. Nothing really of historical value come out of these locations, except every now and then, maybe in a very historic park, you might get lucky and find something that's really historical. If you want to really venture out and find historical artifacts, then the ghost town, or ghost towns that is the place you need to be. And how do you find these ghost towns? Through research, old maps, and just making contact with some of your historians in the particular area that you're interested in. The town of Necessity, which I'll be covering in more detail here, especially with these newspaper articles, was a town that started before the Civil War, and by 1916 they had a population of only about 200 or 300 hardy souls. That is until the oil boom hit. Once the word of the oil strike got out, people poured in from all over the country to this very small community. According to the newspaper articles, the town boom went from 200 or 300 souls to about 2,000 in 90 days, and some newspaper articles have the numbers reaching as high as 8,000, where other newspapers at a later date had the numbers as high as 20,000. So we'll never know the real number of people, but there was quite a few people in this town from 1916 to 1925 when the oil went bust. And believe me, there were a lot of oil derricks at this particular location. So once you find these places, keep in mind you always want to get the respect of the homeowner, respect his property, etc., etc. These towns today in the state of Texas are no more than just wheat fields, cow pastures, just large vacant lots. Some of them pretty good sized vacant lots. Whereas in several of your states, when you say the word ghost town, you have these images of the houses or stores still being there, like in the Tombstone, Arizona, Telluride in Creed, Colorado, places in Oregon, Colorado, etc. But in the state of Texas, there is only a few. And let me repeat that. There is only a few places in the state of Texas where the ghost towns have more than just maybe 1 or 2 buildings, but several buildings. Yet they're still deserted, but owned by someone. So you have to always seek out the owners of these properties. This particular town site, Necessity, the 43 acres that we have been granted permission to actually hunt was the majority of the town site itself. That's what I have came to understand. And I like to stress how important it is when you're out in these places like these ghost towns. Don't get in the habit of just casting or throwing things like these ugly things right here aside. All of these type of artifacts tell a story of a once thriving community. So don't throw them away because they're nothing prized like maybe a gold coin or silver coin. They still have a story, so you must keep them. Even if you take them home and throw them in a garage or shed or something, keep them. Don't throw them in a junk pile. I like to stress that. Someday you might be standing before someone like I am today, showing them some of these things, regardless of how they look, okay? I will cover in more detail my second, that's right, my second corn cache, which is right here. I'll be giving a close-up of that one in 2019 in necessity. The finds on the table here represent 2018 as well as 2019, the last time that we were able to go before the COVID hit in March of 2020. So without further delay, I would like to actually go over some of these things in closer detail, like the newspaper articles and some of the pictures that I did take. And I will show you close-ups of this humdinger of a ghost town map that was put out in 1970 by the late Mr. Jim Wheat. And it is a humdinger of a ghost town map. So please, without further delay, let's get right to the nitty-gritty. Hey, I would like to start by giving you some close-ups of the pictures. You can see necessity here. And believe me, it is a long, desolate 21 miles to the site itself. This is what the community center looked like years before I returned in 2017. You wouldn't recognize it today in 2021. This is me standing outside the old community center, which was last used, I am told, around 1960, when the last of the residents decided to move away. So these are just a few of the pictures. This is an in-ground water well, and I'll tell you a very interesting story about this briefly. Those coins are part of the corn cache, and I'm holding the jar that they came out of. It was only buried about maybe 6 inches deep. And I thought it was just, I started not to dig that particular item up because of the type of signal I was getting. I had my magnet on my rope to go down in that well. This is outside of the brick walls, what's left of the old bank vault, one of them. Like I said, these are necessity. I get a good picture of this. In the ghost town itself. And these are some of the ugly items I was referring to. The old pots and pans. They have definitely seen better days, but they've seen a lot of use. Just old pots and pans, miscellaneous, horseshoes. That's a stove, a leg off of a stove. Old silverware, railroad spike. And the story right here is I lowered that magnet, which could, I believe, pull up about 50 pounds. And I lowered it deep into that in-ground water well. And this is all that came up with this key, and I love it. Just a little rusted key for an antique pocket watch or clock or whatever. This is the jar right here with the coins that were in it. Nothing very old, but the latest coins in it were wheat pennies from the 40s or 50s. So whoever buried this was still there in the 50s. I would assume they were still there in the 50s. These are some of the coins. It's very dirty and hard to read. I didn't waste too much time cleaning them. Okay, but keep in mind all of these came out of this jar, which is right here. This is a very cool ring. I did clean it up a little bit. It's from the early 50s, Lassie. An old thimble. Lassie ring, very old. Indian head pennies with dates like 1890, 1859, 1904, and 1862. 1947 silver quarter, buttons, a buckle, mercury dimes. I believe the mercury dimes were, okay, it's another one of these. I found quite a few of these. This is a 1893 New Orleans barber quarter. V nickel. And one lonely buffalo. Concho. Another ugly pot. Those are the finds again. Okay, just a few bottles. This one small bottle I bring your attention to. It's pretty cool. It's called Four Roses. This was pretty cool item right here. This old shoe repair horn. Okay. And this was the door. Seems to be the right door off of a very old stove. And here are some more pictures of the town itself. What it looked like with the oil derricks, which are all long gone. And another interesting story I didn't mention at the beginning is when you have the respect of these property owners or landowners, usually it will lead to other permissions being granted. In this case, we were granted permission to search this nearby ghost town of Franco, which is only 4 miles from Necessity. But because of the overgrowth in the jungle-like vines and trees, we passed on it, on checking this site out. But it was only 4 miles from Necessity itself. And this town is only about 4 miles from Caddo and 8 miles from Breckenridge. Those are the two places that has the two nearest places that have the restroom facilities and food and drink and hotels or whatever. This town was pretty thriving. Give you one more close-up before I show you this map. Okay. Now I would like to show you this map. Okay, here's a close-up of this huge map. It is about 4 feet by 3 feet by Jim Wheat, produced in the year 1970. As you can see, there is about 3,000 locations on this actual map with descriptions on each location as to the post office location, when the little community or town was started, and when it was removed, I guess, from the post office rosters or registers or whatever, or when the people just decided to abandon the town. But all that information is actually on the back of this 1870 ghost town map by the late Jim Wheat, right there. Keep in mind that hunting these little known or long forgotten, once thriving towns can be very, very rewarding, and it gives you a break to get away from the noises and all of the traffic lights and stop signs in the city. Like this particular town of Necessity, during this 21-mile stretch, I seen one stoplight at a small crossroad place. So please, I hope you enjoy, and please don't forget to subscribe or to check out my other channel, Preserving Dallas History Through Metal Detecting, and I have several videos lined up within the coming weeks. Thanks for watching.